Established by the General Assembly 40 years ago, the Connecticut Permanent Commission on the Status of Women has worked to support women's economic security, health and safety, and to eliminate gender-based discrimination. It is the state's leading force for women's equality. I'm Nathan O'Leary for Comcast Newsmakers at Comcast's Connecticut studio. Teresa Younger, Executive Director of the Connecticut Permanent Commission on the Status of Women, joins Newsmakers. Welcome, Teresa.
Hi, thank you for having me.
What is the primary work of the Permanent Commission?
The key responsibility of the Commission is to monitor and testify on legislation as it affects women and their families in the state of Connecticut. In addition to that, we do gender-specific and Connecticut-specific research. We provide an information and referral service, and we go out and we talk to people about what laws are happening up in Hartford.
Why is it important to have the Permanent Commission advocate for women? It may seem like an obvious question, but why is it so important?
Well, what people forget is that up in Hartford, there are thousands of bills that are introduced on a yearly basis. Annually, we monitor about 250 pieces of legislation and testify on about 50. And we know that most people, 99.9% of people in the state, don't get the opportunity to head up to Hartford and sit in front of legislators and tell them how the laws that they are introducing are going to affect them and what it means to them and their families. And so what we're able to do is sit in front of legislators, testify, go out, talk to people in the community, let them know what's going on. So we're kind of the conduit between the community and the legislature.
And let's talk about some real public policy issues, some examples of that work.
Yeah. So people oftentimes kind of ask that question to us a lot. You know, what does that mean, public policy work? It's things that people don't really think about. So Connecticut was the first state in the union to have Family Medical Leave Act, and that piece of legislation actually went to Washington, D.C. So it ensures that you can leave to take care of your family or yourself and still have your job when you get back. We've worked on legislation that ensures that rape victims actually have access to emergency contraception when they go and present at the emergency room. We've also worked on legislation that ensures minimum wage or earned paid sick time. These are all issues that help establish families' economic security, and those are the kinds of legislation we work on. But we work on everything from very broad pieces to very narrow pieces, so things around trainings as well as how long a woman's insurance needs to cover her when she's in the hospital having a baby.
And part of your mandate is to promote women's leadership. What changes occur with additional women in a leadership position, say if it's in a group or in a business?
Yeah, well, you know, there's been lots of studies about this, and even Harvard Business School says that, you know, boards get better, legislators get better when you have more women. In Connecticut, we have about 29% of the General Assembly are made up of women, and what we do know is when you have more women at the table, you have more diversity, you have more opinions going on at the table, and that's what's really important. We want people to come from a variety of spectrums when they come to talk about legislation and when they come to help make decisions, governance decisions for boards, etc. So it's really important. Women tend to be collaborators. They tend to look at systemic issues in a little bit different way, and so that's what's really important.
Your commission, again, has been working for 40 years. Should Connecticut be satisfied with the progress?
You know, that's a great question. Connecticut should be satisfied with some of the progress. You know, the reality is the Permanent Commission on the Status of Women is the largest nonpartisan women's legislative commission in the country. And we've been working on a lot of things that makes Connecticut a leader in so many ways. But I don't think we can ever sit back and rest on our laurels. We want the state to be just as strong today as it will be in the future. Thank
you, Teresa Younger, Executive Director of the Connecticut Permanent Commission on the Status of Women.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us for Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Nathan O'Leary.